The concept of time value of money is it's a really important one in finance. It's a little subjective, or it can be a little confusing, but basically um, it deals with how the value of money or the value of a dollar would change over time. So what's the value of a dollar? Right now you'd say, well, a dollar is a dollar, and that's what it is today. But it really depends on when you're talking about it. It could be a dollar 10 years ago, 10 years from today. So think about it as though, let's suppose you had a time machine and you went back to the past and you wanted to find out what's the value of $1 in 1950. Now, $1 in 1950 could buy a whole lot more items than you could buy today. And a large part of that is due to inflation. So if you were to compare the dollar in 1950 to the dollar today, I think most people would understand that it would take much more than a dollar today to buy the same amount of goods as you could back in 1950. So that's the crux behind the difference between the value of a dollar in the past and the value today. So purchasing power relates primarily to inflation. So it's impacted by a couple of things. The first one is inflation, because as time progresses, most countries have positive inflation, which means things get more expensive. So what you're buying with $1 is smaller is a smaller quantity of goods than now. The other thing is opportunity cost. So basically, what you're saying with an opportunity cost is that um, it's the rate at which you could have invested your money if you had it available. So if you're looking at a scenario where you have a dollar that can double after 1 year, and let's assume that this is a relatively safe investment, so there's no risk. So you're given that as the context or one of the assumptions. And now I'm going to give you a choice. I'm going to say you have the ability to take $1 today or $1.50 1 year from now. If it's $1.50 1 year from now, it sounds like it's a good deal, but there's an opportunity cost, because if you had taken the dollar today and invested in this really good investment that was going to double every year, so it's going to give you a 100% return, you'd be better off to do that. You'd be better off to take the dollar, um, invest it, and double your money, rather than taking the $1.50 1 year from now. So essentially, what you have at this situation is the opportunity cost is 100% return every year. Okay, so financial applications for this. Really, there's a variety of areas where you apply time value of money. The one really common and important one is the valuation of a company. Essentially, what you do is you take the discounted cash flow, and I've gone over that in the valuation videos as well, and you value all the future earnings to today's value. And the second one is similar. Instead of valuing a company, you value an individual project that the company is looking at. And projects tend to have multiple year cash flows. And as a result of that, what you want to do is compare all of the future cash flows to the current cash flow, which is usually a negative one. So if you say I was to make a payment of 10,000 to invest in a project now, and it earns a certain amount every year, if I could equate those dollar values to all the same, adjusted for time value of money, then I can make a reasonable decision. Okay, so essentially you're taking future cash flows and taking present value, and those are two common ones.